Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for computer applications at Ozarka College. In this video, this is going to be part 2 of the demonstration for Word Module 1. Alright, in the part 1 video, we went through and entered all the text for the flyer, and we corrected the spelling and grammar errors. And now what we're ready to do is format the flyer, okay, by adding some paragraph and character formatting. So we're going to be, for this video, we're going to be starting on the bottom of page 1-23 in Word Module 1, and where it talks about formatting paragraphs and characters. And what we're going to be doing in this particular part 2 video is we're going to first change the document theme for the flyer. We're going to learn how to format characters in the flyer, including font size, case, text effects, adding some bold and underline and italics and so forth. And then after we get that done, we're going to apply some paragraph formatting, like including centering, numbering, and bulleting of paragraphs. And then we're also going to learn how to remove a hyperlink. All right. And then finally, at the end of this part 2 video, we're going to learn how to save this Word document with a different file name. Okay? All right, so let's kind of get started here. So at this point, like I said, we should have the text already entered for the flyer and all of the corrections made as far as spelling and grammar is concerned. And now what we're ready to do is format the flyer. So on the pages WD 1-23 all the way to 1-25 in the textbook, it talks about paragraph and character formatting. I'm just going to let you read through that. I'm not going to go over that with you here. My main purpose here is just to show you how to work through the steps. But you do need to kind of read through that information. All right. So the first thing it wants us to do here on the bottom of page 1-25 talks about changing the document theme. And the document theme is just a way that we can change the overall appearance of our document very quickly. Because it basically changes the font of our text. It changes the colors that are available to us when we apply colors to our document and so forth. So what we're going to do, first thing we need to do is make sure our insertion point is at the very top of our document at the left of that first paragraph in our flyer. And one way you can do that is by pressing Control-Home on your keyboard. And what that will do is, that's a keyboard shortcut to move your insertion point to the very beginning of our document. You can also just click where you want the insertion point to go as well. All right, so what we're going to do here, now that we've got our insertion point on that first, to the left of that first paragraph of our flyer, which is the headline paragraph, we now want to go ahead and change the document theme for this flyer. So the first thing we're going to do here is the document theme is on the Design tab. So we're going to click the Design tab up here on the ribbon. Okay? And that'll open up the Design tab sheet. And then we're going to find the Themes button, which is on the far left on that Design tab sheet. So we're going to click on the Themes button, and that will open up the Themes Gallery, which is just a drop-down list of various themes that are available in Microsoft Word. And we're going to find the gallery theme, okay? So just look through that list until you find the gallery theme. It's right here. We're going to click on that, and that will apply that theme to our flyer. Now, you may not notice a huge difference, but the font does change when you apply a document theme. And so that the font has changed, and the colors that are available to us when we're formatting our flyer in just a few minutes, that also changes. So Anytime you're working in a document and it tells you to apply specific color formatting to either the font or some other like shading, something in your document, and you don't have that color available specifically, then chances are you skipped the step where you apply the document theme, because the document theme basically dictates what, determines what colors are available to us when we format. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so now that we've got the document theme applied, next step on page 1-27, it wants us to format the headline paragraph. So we're going to make sure our insertion point's somewhere in the headline paragraph, and we're going to click the Home tab up on the ribbon, because that's where the paragraph formatting buttons are. So we're going to find the paragraph group on the Home tab, which is right here, and we're going to click on the Center button, which is right next to the Left Align button, which is already selected because left alignment is the default alignment for paragraphs in Word. You'll notice all of our paragraphs that we typed in the first part of this demonstration, the first video. It basically formatted all of our paragraphs left aligned. But for this headline paragraph, we want to center it. So we're going to click the Center button in that paragraph group, and that's going to align that headline paragraph over the width of the page there. Okay, and so that's going to make it stand out more, because we want that headline to stand out, to be noticeable. Okay, so now that we've got that centered, it also wants us to center the paragraph directly below the headline, which is going to be our second paragraph of our flyer. So we're going to click somewhere in the paragraph that starts out, washing your hands with soap and water, right here, and we're going to click the Center button for that paragraph as well, to center that paragraph. All right? So now that we've got that paragraph centered, our next step is we want to apply some character formatting. Anytime you're doing character formatting that is being applied to more than one word, you have to select the words that you want to apply the formatting to. So what we're going to do, there are multiple ways you can do this, but we want to do some character formatting to all of the text in our headline paragraph. One way that you can select an entire paragraph is you can move your mouse pointer to the left margin of the page, that white area on the left side of the page, where it's pointing towards, where the mouse pointer is pointing towards the headline paragraph. And then just click with your mouse, and it will select that entire paragraph for you. And then once we have that entire headline paragraph selected, now we are ready to apply the character formatting to it. So what we're going to do is, on the kind of the middle of page 1-29, it wants us to change the font size of that headline paragraph that we have selected. So to do that, we're going to find the font group up on the Home tab, which is right here, and we're going to find the font size button arrow. Right here where it says 11 in that little box there, that's the font size box, because 11 point is the default font size for text in Word. And so what we want to do is click that down arrow to the right side of that box, so it opens up the drop-down list of various sizes that we can choose for that text, and it wants us to choose 36 as the font size. So we're going to choose 36 there, all right? And then, so that font size increases to 36. It makes it stand out a lot more. And then we're ready to now, on page 1, to kind of the middle of page 1-30, it wants us to change the font of that selected text. So to do that, we're going to click the drop-down arrow for the font box, which is the box directly to the left of the font size box. And so we're going to click the down arrow there to open up the various list of various fonts that we can choose. They're all in alphabetical order. So we're going to very quickly use the scroll bar here to go down to the one that we want to choose, which is Rockwell Extra Bold. So since they're all in alphabetical order, you're going to go down till you find the R's in that list, and you're going to find Rockwell Extra Bold. It's not really hard to find. It stands out there because it's a very noticeable font. So you're going to click on Rockwell Extra Bold in that list, and you'll notice it applies that font to the headline. So now it stands out even more, which is what we want. All right. At the bottom of page 1-31, it wants us to change the case of the headline text. And right now, the way that we entered the text originally in our flyer for the headline is we entered it in initial caps, right? But what we want to do to make it stand out more is we want to change the case to uppercase. So the way that we do that is in the font group of the Home tab, there is a change case button right here. And so you're going to click on that change case button arrow. It opens up a list of various ways that we can change the case of that text. And the one that we want to choose is uppercase. So click on uppercase on that list, and it applies that uppercase formatting to the headline. All right. So we've got that done now. On page 1-32, another thing it wants us to do is it wants us to change the text effect of the headline text to make it stand out even more. So the text effect button is in the font group of the Home tab. It's right here on the bottom row, kind of in the middle there, and it looks like a little blue A button there. And you're going to basically click the down arrow next to that button, and it'll basically open up a drop-down list or gallery of various text effects that we can apply. And it shows you in the picture on the bottom of page 1-32, it points to the correct text effect that we want to apply, which is on the second row, fourth column. And when you point to it, it'll have the full name of the text effect. And those text effect names are very long, and I know that's kind of confusing for some students, but it basically is just a real kind of a description of everything that's being applied to that text at the same time. So instead of having to apply each one of these separate formats to the text, these text effects allow us to apply a lot of formatting at one time, which saves some time for us. All right. So what we're going to do is point to that text effect called fill white, outline red, and so forth there. Just make sure you get the correct name. It shows you exactly what it is there on page 1-32. Just click on that specified text effect. All right. Now that we're done applying the character formatting for right now to the headline text, we need to deselect that text that we selected earlier. So we're going to click just somewhere in our document so that we deselect that headline paragraph. All right. Now on page 1-33, it wants us to shade the headline paragraph. All right. Shading is a paragraph format. So anytime you're applying paragraph formatting, you don't want to select the entire paragraph by highlighting it. All you want to do is just click somewhere in the paragraph that you want to apply the paragraph formatting to. In this case, for us, it's the headline. So we're going to just click somewhere in the headline paragraph. Don't drag through the text. Just Just move your insertion point somewhere in the headline paragraph by clicking on the paragraph. Okay? All right. Once you've done that, what we want to do is find the shading button, which is in the paragraph group of the Home tab. It looks like a little tipped over paint can. All right, and I'm pointing to it right here. You're just going to click on the down arrow to the right of that shading button. It opens up the gallery of various shading colors that we can apply. And then it shows you, and it actually points to the correct color there on the bottom, the picture on bottom of page 1-33. So it's this one right here called Purple Accent 4 Darker 25%. So we're going to click on that shading color, and it applies that shading color to that paragraph. So now it stands out even more. Okay. And then, let's see. On the bottom of page 1-34, it wants us to apply some formatting, some character formatting to the second paragraph of the flyer, which is this paragraph right below the headline paragraph. Okay, right here where it starts out, washing your hands with soap and water. So what we're going to do, we need to select that entire paragraph, okay, because we need to apply character formatting to all the text in that paragraph. So we could use the method that we use to apply to select the headline paragraph, but another way that you can very quickly and easily select an entire paragraph is by just triple clicking on the paragraph that you want to select. So that's what the method that we're going to use here. So we're going to point to that second paragraph of the flyer, and we're going to triple click with the mouse. And that selects the entire paragraph. Okay? So now that we've got that paragraph selected, it wants us to change the font color of that text. So on page 1-35, we're going to go up to the font group of the Home tab, and we're going to find the font color button, which is the very last button in that group, the second column, last column, second row. And so you're going to click on that little arrow to the right of that font color button, and again, it opens up a gallery of various colors that we can apply. And in this case, it wants us to apply the color called Indigo Accent 5 Darker 25%, which is the 9th color in the 5th row. And it points to the correct color there in the picture on the top of page 1-35. So if you just look in the picture there, it points to the correct color there. So you can kind of just verify that the little message that opens up when you point to that color, just verify that you're applying the correct color. Again, it's called Indigo Accent 5 Darker 25%. Then click on that font color. All right. So we've got that done. Now, on the top of page 1-36, it wants us to change the font size of that text that we have selected, that second paragraph of the flyer. It wants us to change the font size to 22. And we learned how to change font size just a minute ago with the headline. So we're going to do it the same way. We're going to go up to the font group of the Home tab. We're going to find the font size button, and we're going to click on the down arrow to the right of that font size box, and it will open up the drop-down list of various font sizes we can choose. And in this case, we need to find font size 22 and click on 22 as the font size. All right, so now it increases that font size to 22 for that second paragraph of the flyer, just so that it kind of stands out more. All right, on the bottom of page 1-36, it wants you to kind of play around with the zoom button on the or the zoom bar on the status bar down here on the right side of the status bar, and you can kind of do that on your own. It's not really going to affect us for right now, what we're doing. So I'm just going to let you kind of play around with that on your own time. But anytime you need to either zoom in or zoom out of your document, so you can see either more or less of the document in the document window, you can use that zoom box right here to do that. Okay? All right. On page WD1-37, it wants us to select multiple lines of text so that we can format multiple paragraphs at the same time. So to do that, there are several different ways you can do it, but the way that we're going to learn here is by moving our mouse pointer to the, and actually before we do that, go ahead and click somewhere in the document just to deselect that text that we had selected, that second paragraph, because we're done formatting it now. So just click somewhere in the document to deselect that text first. All right. And then let's go ahead. I know I said we were going to deal with the zoom later, but actually we're going to need to zoom out of our document just a little bit so that we can see more of our document in the document window for what we're about to do. So let's go ahead and zoom out. Click the zoom out on that zoom bar there on the right side of the status bar until you get to about 120%. Okay, because the reason we're doing that is because we're going to be formatting several paragraphs at the same time, and in order to be able to see what we're doing in our document window, we're going to need to make the document smaller in the document window so we can see more of what we're doing with those paragraphs, so we can see all those paragraphs at the same time. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to point to in the left, go ahead and move your mouse pointer to the left margin, just like we did before, to select the headline paragraph. You're going to move your mouse pointer into that left margin so that it's pointing towards the How paragraph heading, okay, which is that third paragraph of the flyer right here, okay? So you're going to move your mouse pointer so that it's pointing towards that paragraph. And then you're going to hold down on the left mouse button and basically move your mouse pointer or move your mouse down until all of the text in the remainder of the flyer is selected. All right, and you can kind of look at the picture there. And actually, we don't want the signature line selected. Just a second. Let me do this again. We want to select basically everything from the How headline all the way to the paragraph right below or right above the signature line. So you don't want that very last line that has the hyperlink in it. We don't want that selected right now. We just want everything else. So basically the How heading all the way down to the paragraph that starts out after handling dirty equipment. Okay, so just keep trying that until you get that those paragraphs selected. All right. Again, it shows you on the bottom, the picture on the bottom of page 1-37, exactly which paragraph should be selected. Okay. All right. Once we have those paragraphs selected, it wants us to change the font size of the characters in that selected text to 20 point. And we've already learned how to change font size, so you should know how to do this now. So we're going to go up to the font size box up here in the font group, and we're going to change the font size to 20. And it applies it to all that text that we had selected in our flyer. All right. All right, then just click somewhere in your document to deselect that text that we had selected. All right. All right, the next thing is on the bottom of page 1-38, it wants us to number some of the paragraphs in our flyer. Specifically, it wants us to number the paragraphs right below the How heading. Okay, So from right here down to here, okay? These paragraphs right here, it wants us to apply a numbered list formatting to those paragraphs. So the way that I selected those is just the same way that we learned to select the paragraphs just a minute ago. You're going to point to the left and make sure your mouse pointer is in the left margin, pointed towards the first paragraph that you want to select, and then you're just going to hold down on the left mouse button and drag down through the last paragraph that you want selected. And so just kind of look at the picture there on the bottom, on the top of page 1-39, and also look at my flyer right up here, and you can see which paragraph should be selected here. Okay, and then what we're going to do once we have those paragraphs selected, we want to apply the numbering paragraph style to those paragraphs. So we're going to go up here to the numbering button here on the paragraph group of the Home tab and just click on the numbering button. And what it does is it applies the number format to those paragraphs. In other words, it's going to number those paragraphs, in this case 1 through 5, since we had 5 paragraphs in our selected text. So it basically numbers those paragraphs. Okay? So we've got that done. Then the next thing is on page 1-40, it talks about using the undo and redo buttons. And those are up here on the title bar. Right, just kind of in between the save button and the print button up on the title bar. And so anytime you apply formatting to your document and you notice that it's a mistake, that maybe you applied the incorrect formatting or you did something out of step, out of turn, what you can do to get back to where you were before you applied that formatting is you can use the undo button. And so it basically, what it wants us to do here is to learn how to use that undo button. It wants us to click on undo so that it takes us back to where we were before we applied the numbering format to those paragraphs. And then it wants us to now click the redo button so that it teaches us how to use redo so that we can kind of get back to where we were before we clicked undo. Because just like you can make mistakes when you're formatting, you can also make a mistake and accidentally click undo when you didn't intend to. So just kind of look through that. I think most of you probably already know about those buttons, but if you don't, those are good tools to know how to use. So just kind of look through that. All right. So now just make sure, though, that if you did kind of practice using the undo and redo button, just make sure that we get back to where we actually do have the paragraphs that we have selected here, that we have those formatted as numbers, okay, a numbered list, okay? So just make sure of that. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to learn how to bullet some paragraphs. So before we do that, though, click just somewhere in the document to deselect those paragraphs that we just had selected. And then what we're going to need to do is scroll down in our document just a little bit so that we can see the kind of the bottom half of the flyer, where especially the when heading and the paragraphs right below the when heading. All right. And what we're going to need to do is we want to apply bullet formatting, a bulleted list format to those 5 paragraphs below the when heading. So first thing we're going to need to do, just like we did for the numbered list, we're going to need to drag through or select those 5 paragraphs. So we're going to use the same method. We're going to point to, we're going to move our mouse pointer to the left margin, pointing towards the first paragraph that we want to select, and then hold down the left mouse button and drag through those paragraphs. Just drag down through those paragraphs until you get all those paragraphs selected. And then, of course, release the mouse button. So now we have those 5 paragraphs selected underneath the When heading. And just verify that you have the correct paragraph selected. And then what we're going to do is apply the bullet list format to those paragraphs. So the bulleted list format button is right next to the numbered list button that we just used, to the left of it. So we're going to click right there on the bullets button in the paragraph group, and that applies bullet formatting to those paragraphs. All right, and then just click somewhere in your document to deselect the text there. All right, next thing is it wants us to remove the hyperlink in the last paragraph of our flyer, which is called the signature line, okay? And in order to remove this hyperlink where it says www.foodworkers.com, by default, Microsoft Word automatically puts any kind of email address or website address, it formats it as a hyperlink. In other words, something you can click on to actually go to that page online. But on a printed flyer, and in this case, we're creating a flyer that we're going to basically put on a bulletin board that people are not going to be able to see in electronic form. They're just going to basically go by and look at it on a bulletin board. So anytime you're printing a document like that, the hyperlink is useless because they're not going to be able to click on it anyway. So to kind of remove that hyperlink, what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on that hyperlink there, which says www.foodworkers.com on that last paragraph of the flyer. And on the shortcut menu that opens up, we're going to click on Remove Hyperlink. Okay? And all that does is that takes that hyperlink formatting off of that text because it's not going to be of use in a printed document anyway. Okay? All right. So we've got that done. All right. Next step on the bottom of page 1-43, it wants us to center the signature line paragraph. So we're going to use the same method that we used to center the first 2 paragraphs of the flyer. If you'll remember, all we did was we clicked somewhere in the paragraph that we want to center, in this case the signature line paragraph, and then we're just going to go up to the center button on the paragraph group of the Home tab and click on the center button. And very simply, it centers that paragraph. Okay? All right. Next thing it wants us to do is it wants us to format the signature line paragraph, apply some character formatting. And if you remember, if you want to do character formatting to more than one word at the same time, you have to select all of the text, all the words that you want to format. So to do that, what we're going to do is you're going to use the same method that we used to select the other paragraphs. We're going to move our mouse pointer to the left margin of the page, pointed towards, where the mouse pointer is pointing towards that signature line paragraph, and we're going to click with the mouse. And that selects that entire paragraph. Okay? Now, what we're going to do in this case, instead of using the buttons up on the ribbon to apply our character formatting to that paragraph, we're going to use this little mini toolbar that opens up when we select text. Okay, when we have text selected, you'll notice there's this little mini toolbar that appears that allows us to very quickly and easily apply formatting to that selected text. And so using that mini toolbar, we're going to click the font size button arrow, and it wants us to change the font size to 18. So we're going to click 18 in that list. All right. And then it also, with the text still selected, And with that mini toolbar still displayed, it also wants us to apply a font color. So we're going to find the font color button, arrow, in that mini toolbar. Okay, click on that. Opens up the little gallery of various colors. And then you'll notice in the picture on the very bottom of page 1-44, it points us to the, it points in that picture to the correct color that we want to apply. In this case, it is indigo accent 5, darker 25%. So just verify with that little message that appears when you point to the color. Just verify that you're applying the correct color, and then once you've done that, go ahead and click on that color. Okay, so we've got that done. Now that we're done adding character formatting to the signature line, we need to deselect that text. Alright, so we've got that done. Let me kind of look here and make sure that we're getting everything done here. Make sure where I'm at here. Okay, so we just deselected that signature line text. Alright, and now what we want to do is kind of make sure again that we're kind of scroll down to kind of towards the bottom of our document so we can see the signature line. We're going to apply some more formatting to that signature line text. In this case, what we want to do is we want to underline 3 of the words in that signature line paragraph, specifically the last 3 words, which are additional hand washing tips. So what we're going to do, in order to select multiple words in the same paragraph, all you do is you move your mouse pointer to the left of the first character that you want to select, and then just hold down the left mouse button and drag to the right until you get those words selected that you want, and it shows you in the picture on page 145 what text should be selected. And if you don't get it right the first time, just try it again until you get those specific 3 words selected. Do not select the period or the punctuation at the end of the paragraph. Just those 3 words that it shows there in my example here and also in the textbook. Once you have those correct 3 words selected, you're going to click the underline button up here on the font group of the Home tab. And that will underline those words. Alright, once we have that done, and to underline, you could use the underline button on the ribbon or the mini toolbar, whichever way you prefer. It doesn't matter, as long as you get it underlined. Alright, on page 1-46, it wants us to apply some italic formatting to one of the words in the second paragraph of the flyer. So we're going to scroll up and go ahead and click somewhere in your document to deselect that text that we just formatted. And make sure that you move up in your document, scroll up enough to where you can see that second paragraph of the flyer. And the word that it wants us to apply the italic formatting to is the word prevent, which is on that second line of that second paragraph on the far right. So we're going to find the word prevent, click somewhere in that word, and anytime, like I said earlier, anytime you want to format just a single word, you don't have to drag through that word to add a character formatting to it. All you have to do is click somewhere in the word. So that's what we're doing. We're clicking in the word prevent, and then we're going to go up to the italic button and click on the italic button in the font group of the Home tab. Alright, so we've added that italic formatting to kind of emphasize that word. All right. Next thing we need to do, and we're almost done formatting the text here. We've just got a little bit left here. On page 1-47, it wants us to format the first word of each of the numbered list paragraphs. Okay? And basically what it wants us to do is it wants us to bold each one of those. So what we're going to do is, now you could, if you wanted to, you could just drag through each one of those words or click on each one of the words, first words in each of the paragraphs, and click the bold button. But a faster and easier way of doing it is you can drag through the word, the first word in that first numbered paragraph, which is wet, the word wet there in that first numbered paragraph. And what we're going to do, anytime you want to select non-adjacent words in your document, what you can do is hold down the Control key as you select the second word in every subsequent word that you want to select. So what I've done here is I've selected the word wet first, and then I'm going to hold down the Control key as I select the word lather and scrub and rinse and dry. Okay? And you may have to practice that a little bit. That's not an easy thing to do when you haven't done it before. But again, just kind of practice it till you get it. But you basically want to end up with the first word of each of those numbered paragraphs selected. Okay? Because now what we're going to do is we're going to bold each of those words. Okay? And so on page 1-48, it wants us to click the bold button up here on the font group of the Home tab. And that just emphasizes those words. All right? Once you've done that, just click somewhere in the document to deselect that text. And now we are done formatting the text in our flyer. So, but now what we're going to do to kind of finish up this part 2 of the demonstration is we're going to save this document with a different file name. Okay? And so what we're going to do, right now it's saved as Wash Hands Flyer Unformatted. What we're going to do is change that to formatted, because now the text is formatted. So what we're going to do, anytime you want to change the name of a already saved document, what we're going to do is click File up on the ribbon, and then click on Save As on the left-hand side here, where you see all the options here on the left. You're going to click on Save As, and then we're going to click on Browse, okay, right here. And that'll open up the Save As dialog box, okay? And in that dialog box, since we've already got, it tells you what to name this, the new name that it wants us to apply to this document. It tells us there on the bottom of page 1-49 on step 3. But since we already had saved this with the name, basically the same name there that they give us, except the only thing that's different is right now it's called unformatted at the very end of that file name. All we want to do is change it to formatted. So all we're going to need to do is just kind of highlight or delete the word formatted at the end of that file name and just type in formatted. All right. And then click on the Save button. And what we've done here is we basically, now we have 2 separate files. We have one file that is the unformatted document that basically is what the document looked like before going through this part 2 demonstration. And then we also have the file now that is formatted, okay, that has all the formatting done that we just applied in this video, in this part 2 demonstration. All right, so that is basically all I want to do in this part 2. In part 3, in the part 3 video, I'm going to go through and insert the picture with you and teach you how to format the picture. All right, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you.